Mali U.S. airstrikes against ISIS could now expand to another country. The Obama administration considering targeting the militant group in Syria. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Martin Dempsey, says that the home base of ISIS in Syria will have to deal with that home base at some point. This, of course, after ISIS shocked the world with its brutal and barbaric beheading of James Foley. Joining us now, Fred Fleitz, former CIA senior analyst. Fred, how do we kill them before they kill us?
Eric, it's good to be here. We're now seeing what an evil group that ISIS is, and we're facing the reality that it's not going to be destroyed by limited airstrikes in northern Iraq limited to humanitarian missions and protecting U.S. lives. We're going to need a massive military campaign. Now, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said we'll have to go into Syria. Eric, we're going to need to do more than that. Maybe we can roll back ISIS in Iraq if we arm the Peshmerga forces of the Kurds and the Iraqi army. But to defeat ISIS in Syria, we're either going to have to send in troops or we're going to have to work with the Syrian army. We're not going to defeat ISIS just with airstrikes in Syria.
Well, you talk about a massive campaign. What are the chances of that? Let's take a look at what the Wall Street Journal, in that brutal and blunt editorial, said. So what will you do, Mr. President? The lesson of the last century is that a coalition of the willing forms only when America leads. The main reason that ISIS has advanced so far has been the U.S. failure to act against it. Mr. Obama's refusal to intervene in Syria created a breeding ground for jihadists, and his total withdrawal from Iraq in 2011 created a vacuum for those jihadists to spill over and occupy Sunni Iraq. Disorder is spreading while he is the world's ostensible leader. ISIS is marching while he is commander-in-chief. Fred, you've been on the front lines of the CIA and in the top executive offices of this country. What are the chances of what you say, a massive military response and a huge coalition of the willing, which is apparently needed to stop them?
Well, first of all, I agree with the Journal that an absence of American leadership led to a power vacuum that caused the rise of ISIS. I think there is an opening for the president to meet with senior leaders of Congress, Democrats and Republicans, to get their backing for a significant escalation in an attack on ISIS. This will force the president to go back on his no boots on the ground promise. We will not bomb in Syria. First of all, the U.S. should never be saying what it won't do. Everything should be on the table. But given what we've seen ISIS do, given the fact that it taunted the United States with this Foley beheading video and shows no sign of slowing down, we need a significant change in policy. And I think that means the president needs to get congressional buy-in for a significant escalation.
When you talk about a significant escalation, do you think the U.S., the American people will support U.S. troops? Is that what you're talking about, back in Iraq and potentially in parts of Syria that are now the Islamic State?
I think there will be significant opposition to such a step, and I think it will be unpopular among the president's anti-war supporters. But presidents are in office to do the right thing for the American people, to use their political capital to advance American interests, and I think the president's going to have to make a difficult step here. ISIS can't be defeated unless we make some difficult choices. I don't think we should be working with the Syrian government. That probably means we have to send troops on the ground, maybe just commandos into Syria to take out these forces. The reason is the Free Syrian Army is too weak to defeat ISIS. And without ground troops, ISIS will probably use human shields and other tactics to defeat airstrikes.
So you're talking about more than just special ops?
We may be able to do it just with special ops, but I don't think we can defeat ISIS unless we go into Syria, unless we have some type of ground presence, maybe special ops forces. I don't know what it would involve, but it's not. If we don't do that, it will continue to be an insurgency that maybe it will topple the Assad government.
And finally, Fred, is there any way we've seen the success of the drones in Yemen and other places? I mean, look at Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. We had him in custody. We let him go. And he's out there apparently calling the shots. Can we drone him? And how do we get him? Or, as you say, is the only way to finally, put the final stake in the ISIS vampire is to do what you say?
Well, first of all, I don't know whether al-Baghdadi is still alive. No one has seen him for about a month. We don't understand his leadership structure, how ISIS is organized. I assume he survived a battle about a month ago when he was rumored to be severely injured and was evacuated to Iraq. But I don't think airstrikes and drones are going to knock them out. We haven't destroyed al-Qaeda in Yemen or the Taliban in Pakistan through airstrikes. We've knocked them back, but they're still there. This is a much